Welcome to the Smart Women in Business podcast with me, your host, Jane Mackay. We've got big ideas for small business. Hello and welcome to the Smart Women in Business vlog and podcast. Today I am talking to Midori Verity. Midori is the founder and CEO of Mox Life, a certified human behaviour specialist and a mindset success coach, best-selling author and show host. Midori is completely transforming the way ambitious professionals go for their goals by helping them discover their best path to excellence, which is the path of least resistance. And in order to do that, you must break down your negative behavioural loops and replace them with new patterns. And this is what creates easeful, lasting success in all areas of life, and you will feel like you've finally arrived. So welcome, Midori. It is my absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you, Jane. I love being here with you, especially with you in Australia and me in the United States. How great is this that we can do this?
It's amazing.
Yes.
All the way from sunny California. I hope it's warmer there today than it is here. It's a bit cold. So tell me about your business journey so far. So how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So I've owned several businesses over the years, kind of a serial entrepreneur. But the first business that we started was my husband and I, and we had it for about 15 years. And I remember waking up one morning, it was my birthday, and just feeling like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I don't want to get out of bed. I just wanted to really just pull the blankets over my head and stay there for the next 20 years. And what was really going on was I was going through the start of a depression. And what was happening deeper was that I felt like I was at midlife and that I was totally stuck, that this was the life that we had. We had this business that was fairly successful, it was paying all of our bills, helping take care of the kids, helping with our house payments, but I hated it, totally hated it, and felt trapped, and I didn't know where to go. Obviously, I couldn't go back to college at that point. And so through this journey that went on for about 6 months, I finally got to a point where I'm like, enough is enough. I can no longer feel stuck and depressed. And I just went on this kind of like a search, I guess, a soul search to find out what I was going to do next, how I was going to get out of this, because nobody knew. My husband knew I was a little bit bitchier, but he didn't know what was going on. So through all of this, I discovered something called neuroplasticity and neuroscience. And the beauty of this is that all it is brain. It's about our brains and how we have control through of the stories that we tell and the thoughts that we believe and the limiting beliefs. We have control of all that. And so all of a sudden I started to see this new opportunity of, oh my gosh, I don't have to stay stuck. I don't have to be depressed all my life. Holy cow, I can be in control of where I'm going. So that's how it got me to where I am now. So long story short, I got out of the business that I was running with my husband. We still have that business and it's grown enormously despite what I thought, and started on my own journey. And that's what brings me here today.
Oh, brilliant. I'm just in my sort of the beginning of my studies of our neuroplasticity and how we can change our brains to change our habits. And it's just incredibly interesting and really transformative. So, wow, what a journey. So, in your everyday, you mentioned you have kids. How do you manage your life as an entrepreneur? I know it's a struggle. We've just come out of school holidays, so.
Well, I have to be honest, there was a time when my kids are now, I'm an empty nester now. And so my kids have gone on, but, I've had a business since they were born. And so I know the ups and downs, and I know the points where you get so stressed out, where you think, I think I'm losing my mind because it's hard to balance things. And so how I've done it is paying attention to these patterns that we develop, these habits that we develop. And what I mean by that is we all have ways that we react to things, and often it's a knee-jerk reaction. So if we're feeling stressed over our kids feeling like, oh my gosh, I have no time, I need to take them to practice, I need to help them with schoolwork, I need to cook, I need to shop, I need to get my business done, and you have all these things going, the way that you're reacting is you're responding to freaking out, right? To that stress and anxiety.
That's where I was this morning. Yeah. When I got up at
I think
5:45.
most of us.
I remembered it was cupcake day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I made 24 cupcakes this morning.
At 6 a.m.?
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Gotta love, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that's one thing that I learned is to, through this whole process of our mindset, and I know we're going to go into this deeper, but just to take a breath and to put things in perspective and figure out, okay, here's my situation. How am I going to deal with this situation? And often when you can take a step back and just stay calm and look at it from a different perspective, ideas start popping up and solutions become simpler. So that is how I learned how to deal with it once I discovered, the whole concept of brain plasticity and started getting trained in it. But before that, I ran around with a chicken with my head cut off. I was stressed out. I was yelling. I was probably not the most present mom at that time. So yeah, I totally get what we go through.
Yeah. And I think every mother goes through that, and it's the mother guilt and breaking the habit of automatically going into that freak out mode or that stress mode or that yelling mode, which so many of us do as a response, is what you do in your work. So before we go into that deeper, this is a question I ask all my guests. What does a great day in the office look like for you?
A great day. One thing that I have become very religious about are something I call 90-day goals. I create a blueprint for my business. And in that, I know at the end of 90 days what I need to accomplish. I usually have 2 primary goals that are big needle turners for me. So therefore, I know each week what needs to happen and each day needs to happen. And so every single day, what I have gotten into the discipline of doing is having 3 primary goals that I set that I have to accomplish. And then once they're done, I'm kind of free, right? Because really, if you get 3 main things done every single day or Monday through Friday, that's pretty amazing. And so that's what's worked for me. And then that gives me some breathing room too, so that if there's other things that I've wanted to look into, if I wanted to watch a webinar, if I want to go have a happy hour with my girlfriends or with my husband, I can. But that's a really successful day for me is getting the 3 primary things that I wanted to get accomplished done and not losing my mind in the process.
So
that's a good day.
Yeah, that's a great day. I'm not losing my mind in the process. It's always a great day. So do you focus those on on operations, business growth, that sort of thing? Do you divvy them up? How do you work them out?
It depends on what I'm focusing on right then. I do totally believe in staying in your zone of genius. So for those who aren't familiar with that term, that is where you really focus in on what you're naturally good at. I am terrible at bookkeeping. Don't ask me to do taxes because I will go to prison for them. So I learned that early in my business. And so I don't concentrate on that stuff. I concentrate on the creativity. I concentrate on working with my clients. And then I have team members who help me with everything else. So I just get bits and pieces from them of what's going on so that I'm clear. And then if we need to make pivots, if we need to have me deal with something, then I will. But I really try very, very hard to stay in my zone of genius. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I'm always interested in how people structure their day, because the point of interviewing all these amazing women is to help other women on their journey go, okay, how do they do it? How do they get to that point where I want to be? So, and it's really interesting to get all the tips from everyone. So now we're going to have a look at, a talk about the work that you do, which is amazing. So what are behavioral loops that I mentioned in the intro, and how do they impact on our lives as entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So what I call it is a behavioral loop effect. So it goes like this, like you're on a racetrack that you can't get off. So how this concept works is that all of us have these beliefs, these thoughts, these limiting behaviors, limiting beliefs that we play. They all come from our past, whether it was our childhood, whether it was a past marriage, whatever, it doesn't matter, but it all comes from the past. And what happens is our behaviors, our actions support these beliefs, whatever they are. And then, of course, your results, which is the third component, reflect that. So as a business owner, what things that you can notice if you are staying stuck and you're not progressing in your business despite making goals and having an idea of where you want to go, or if you notice that you're going after these shiny objects way too often, you aren't having a structure for them, you're just kind of like, oh, this is a good idea, or oh, there's a squirrel, right? If you're noticing those things, or there's a procrastination situation going on where there's things that you should be doing but you're staying stuck and you're not doing them. If you notice anything like that, then chances are very, very strong that you're stuck in a behavioral loop. So what you want to do, there's 3 A's. I may be jumping around for you, Jane, but I just want to kind of go say
That's
it right now.
how my brain is anyway.
It goes together.
Yeah.
So there's the 3 A's, and this is super simple. We can all do it, but there's 3 A's that you want to use to start changing your behavioral loop. So the first one is awareness. You have to become aware of what is this behavior? Where's it coming from? How is it affecting me? So one is becoming aware of it so you don't keep replaying it. So it could be a scarcity mindset. It could be mommy guilt. It could be that you feel like you're not smart enough, you don't have enough education, you don't have enough time, anything like this. These are stories that we play in our head. So become aware of it. And then the next part is the action steps. So then you want to take action steps to change it. And this is where the 90 days goals come in. And then the third part of it is accountability. Having an accountability partner in there to help you push through. So that's just it, really in a nutshell. Oh, our power just went on. I could hear it. Just for all of you, just a sidebar. Our power has been out for 2 days. PG&E just randomly turned it off for I think about 2,000 homes in our area, and we're one of them. So I just heard it go back on. Yay. But anyway, yay! We have light. I can take a shower. Yay. Amazing things. But those are kind of just the 3 A's super, super fast of how to break a behavioral loop. So one, you create that awareness behind what that belief is. And then once you create that awareness and you can come up with tools, then your behavior is going to support your new belief system, right? So if it serves you better, it's going to support you better. Therefore, your results are going to change and you're going to stay focused on what you need to instead of going after those shiny objects. So that's it. That's kind of it in a nutshell, just very quickly.
In a squirrel nutshell. Yeah.
In a squirrel nutshell. There it is. This big.
So you work with a lot of high-powered people who have already invested in their education and development, yet are feeling stuck and frustrated, which I've seen in a lot of my clients. They feel, they've done all this stuff, they've done all this work, they've invested all this time, yet still they're not feeling fulfilled. So that comes back to, what you're talking about. What's really going on for them? What do you find are the common things that are going on?
Yeah, so that is super common, especially the higher you go with your success. I was just talking with someone yesterday about imposter syndrome, where we get to a level and we're like, oh my gosh, I hope no one finds out that I really don't know what I'm doing. Or not even that you don't know what you're doing, but that you're not as skilled as as the public perceives you to be. This is very common for even those who have 8-figure businesses. And so what happens is we have, again, these stories. I try to keep all this super simple because it really is simple. We don't need to go into technical psychological terms, because I think the simpler we keep it, the easier we can deal with it. So we have these beliefs that are going on that we're replaying. And that's usually what happens. I have clients who come to me with 2 PhDs, or, they've been in business for a long time, but they're feeling stuck. And they're feeling like they're setting these goals, but they're not being able to achieve them for whatever reason. And when we dig deeper through, we have an assessment that we do that's pretty intense. It's very scientific. I did not design it. It's been around for decades. But when we start digging deeper using this assessment, we can see these loops that they were blind to. And it's amazing. So once we can bring that awareness to light, then we can deal with it. But there's so many people get stuck in it. And usually the people who are new to business might not realize yet that they have these behavior loops. It takes those who've been doing it for a while to start feeling like, holy cow, what is going on? Why can't I make that next $100,000? Even though I've been doing this so long and I know my business. So those are the kinds of things to really pay attention to, is when you feel stuck, there's probably something going on more than where your education level is.
Yeah, that up level, people talk about up leveling, and how the fear around that, it's huge. Even if you're highly successful, everyone has that imposter syndrome that crops up. And when you're new in business, I've been in business for 10 years, but when you're new, you don't realize it, and you just get stuck, as you say, in these loops. So what signs would tell someone that she might be stuck in a negative behavioral loop?
Yeah, so that's, going back to something that we discussed earlier. When you start noticing, maybe you have a plan for your business for the year or for the 90 days or however you structure your business, but you're like, you know what? I think instead of going after this goal, this looks really good over here. Someone told me about that. I should start selling these products. And you start veering.
I totally should.
Whole lot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Oh, maybe this is better. I think this makes more sense for me all of a sudden. And so, those kind of things. Or if you're noticing that you have these things that you should be doing. Maybe you're supposed to be writing a blog post. Maybe you say that you're going to do videos. Maybe you have plans to do a retreat, or for your, with your employees, you want to have this big meeting, this big exciting thing going on to get your employees to the next level. And these things aren't happening. So that's procrastination. That's another big sign that there's something going on. I want to back up a little bit to what we were talking about a second ago about those who are, they feel like there's imposter syndrome going on. I'm not educated enough, or whatever it is. When you're going to a next level, often you need a new mindset, because the mindset that got you to 6 figures is not going to be the same mindset that gets you to 7 figures. And it's very important to recognize that. The quicker you do, and the quicker you get help for it to help you get to that next level, the quicker you're going to feel that momentum and stop getting so frustrated from it.
Brilliant. It's just so interesting that we don't learn mindset in school. We don't get taught anything about, when we're at school, about, even budgeting would be helpful, but how much of a role your brain plays in your day-to-day life and how it can help you in business. So in the work that you do, what makes your approach unique? What makes it different?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've owned several businesses over the years. Some have done very, very, very well, and then others have flopped. And I have felt stuck before. I have felt frustrated. I have felt completely so angry. I wanted to punch somebody in the face. And I've cried for days and days and days because I was stuck. So I understand where they're coming from. And I also have the business background to help them recognize it and get through it. So with what I do, what really makes it different is that I teach people these tools that they can use. And like you can hear me talking, the 3 A's, the way that I talk about the belief behavior loop, they're all very simple. And what we do through our program is we train those who come through to learn these tools to create an awareness, because when you start seeing new things prop up or crop up, you can recognize it and then you have the tools to deal with it. So you keep that momentum going. So that's really what I have seen with our business that's different, is that we empower you so that you can do it yourself. So we teach you and we're there to guide you. But then later on, 5 years down the line, you still have these tools and you have a new mindset and you have a new lifestyle that serves you really, really well.
Yeah. And it's about empowering yourself to change your own mindset, because no one's going to do it for you. So what's the first? No one's going to do it for you. Oh, I'm learning that the hard way at the moment. So what is the first? Yeah, I'm right there with you, babe. What is the first step a listener can take today to start shifting her negative behavioral loops? And I'm listening very closely.
Yeah, you know what? Just start with the awareness. Start with it. Here's a really simple exercise that you can do, is fill in these blanks. I'd love to blank, but I'm feeling resistance or fear because of blank. So what I mean by that is, I'm going to say it again because this is a really powerful exercise. I'd love to blank. So the blank is something that you've wanted to do or be or become for a long period of time. So maybe it's that you've wanted to write a book. Maybe it's that you want to now have financial freedom. Maybe it's that you want to have a business where you really don't have to do much anymore. So whatever it is, think about that, write it in. But it's something that you've wanted for a long time, but you haven't achieved it and you're not quite sure why. And what I want you to pay attention to is that feeling you get in your gut that's saying, oh, I know that I should be doing X, Y, Z to get there, but I'm not, because I'm scared. I'm scared that I don't know what's on the other side. I'm scared that I've never dealt with this level of client before. I'm scared that I don't have enough education. This is where all the self-doubts come in. And pay attention to that, because that's where you'll start discovering those belief behaviors that we were talking about that have been sabotaging you.
Yeah, and self-sabotage comes up. Imposter syndrome, self-sabotaging, are very consistent things that I see with people who are in business, not just women, men too, but women, I think, have a tendency, maybe we're more self-critical. I don't know. So
yes.
We're nearly at the end of our talk, which has just been amazing. So what is your why? What keeps you motivated in your business?
I've been through it all. I've been, for me, I love business. It's my habit. It's my hobby. I don't garden. I'm a terrible cook. I really have no other great skills, but I love business. Thank God I have that. So I do, because I love it and I love the challenge and I love seeing the results of a business. I also have been on the other end where I get super frustrated because I'm not seeing the results, or because things seem so hard, or I'm feeling challenged, or I feel like there's a wall. And I mentioned this earlier, that I just want to shrink and disappear because I'm playing at a higher level. And so that's what keeps me motivated, is that I see it in other people. It's easy for me to see it in a client. When they start talking to me, I'm like, oh, there it is. And then helping them break through, because it really doesn't take that long. And when they see those lights going off, there's nothing better. Because as women, we need to support each other. And when we do, we empower one another. And it's the most cool thing, because then we bring it back to our homes, our communities. That's the beauty of women. We just
and that's how we're changing the world.
Yeah, that's right.
That is how we're doing it.
True. Yeah.
Slowly but surely, we're getting there. So
we are.
We are. So what are your, top 3, number 1 tip for all the smart women in business across Australia and the world? Number 1 thing in their business.
In their business.
What's your tip?
Stay in your zone of genius. Zone of genius. It helps you stay focused. It helps you not get so frustrated. It helps you just advance because you're doing what you love, and let the others do what you're not so zone of genius in. So that's the number 1 thing I've seen. Don't go to prison over your bookkeeping. So not worth it.
Nah.
But that's the number one thing that I see. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So we're coming to the end of our chat, and it's been amazing, and your work sounds incredibly transformational. So where can everyone who's listening or watching learn more about you? Obviously, I'm going to put your links in the show notes so everyone can have a direct link to you. So tell me all about it.
Yeah, the easiest way is just to go to the website, themoxlife.com. And then moxlife.com. And you can email me from there, but there's all kinds of free resources for you. There's a really fun little survey there that may help you recognize those beliefs that are getting in your way. But yeah, so that's a great resource to go to.
Oh, brilliant. I'll make sure that's all in the show notes. And I really appreciate your time today, Midori, despite not having any power.
Well, now I do. So this was a good omen.
That was me coming in from Australia going, yay. Well, thanks so much. And maybe we'll catch up again and it'll be fun.
I hope so. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. You have been listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast. If you'd like to find out more about me, your host, Jane Mackay, visit janemackaycommunications.com.au.